Hi everyone, I wanted to show you how I made a rose quartz bracelet. I picked up these rose quartz beads, I think a couple of years ago now from my local craft shop, and they don't have them anymore unfortunately, but I picked them up while they had them because I knew they probably wouldn't have them for long. And I managed to find the tub recently and decided to make me some jewellery. What I did was I used some embroidery. I used some crocheting thread for this, and what I did was took a needle and threaded the rose quartz beads onto the crocheting thread, or crochet thread, I should say. Put the beads on just to check, and then check for size, and then add more beads as necessary. Because the easiest way to measure if it's big enough for your wrist is to just place it around your wrist and just see how close it is before the ends meet. You don't need to have the ends of the beads touching for it to be big enough for your wrist. Sorry this bit's out of shot, but never mind. But as you can see, I've checked to see if it's the right size, and I'm quite happy with it. So then what I did was moved up the thread and trimmed off the jagged bit, which I'll do in a bit. First of all, I'm just tying a knot in just to make sure that the beads don't fall back off. That'll just hold them in position so I can mess with the other end. Then I take these little clasps I've got, trim off the tatty bit of thread because the thread gets a bit damaged going through the bead at the very ends, that is. And I've got a little clasp which I'm just threading onto the end. As you can see, it's just one of these little ones. And what I'm doing is to fasten it to the thread, I'm tying it in place. And as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm actually doing a knot that you do when you make friendship bracelets. So what you do is you hold the thread tight, you pass the loose end behind and then through the loop and pull. And as you can see, it knots it, and you keep doing that and you get a sort of, if you do it for long enough, you get like a spiral pattern that appears. And I did that to make sure it was well knotted in place, and also it looks nice. And I did that roughly 10, 12 times, something like that. And then just knotted the end. Made sure it was like double knotted and nice and tight. As you can see, I'm pulling it as tight as I can possibly get it. And then cut off the excess thread. And then I'm just using my lighter just to melt the very ends, because this thread of mine has got it's got like a plastic thread, like a plastic glitter thread going through it. And I found if you heat that up with a lighter, it melts just enough so it stops the thread from unraveling and fraying. And that's the end with the clasp on. And just cut off the end from the ball, and then it's time to put the other part of the clasp mechanism on. So it's just a case of threading it through. It's just a little eyelet thing, and I'm just attaching this the exact same way. So I'm applying it to threading it onto the string, and then using that knot method for making friendship bracelets to secure it in place. As you can see, this was a bit more fiddly because it was a bit shorter. If you can leave the end longer, it is better. But I knew I didn't need a lot of thread. And then I'm just wrapping it from behind, bringing the end through the loop and then pulling. And I did this end probably about 6 times, something like that. And again, it's just to make sure that it's nice and secured in place. It looks nice as well because it gives that sort of woven effect to the end of the string. And also just make sure that the clasps are secured nice and tightly to the bracelet so it won't come off. And then as I get near the end, I just do a couple more knots and I'm done. As you get towards the very end, it gets really fiddly. I'm just trying to squeeze one more knot out of this one, like so. Then again, trim off the excess, and I'm using the light, because this isn't a plasticky, it's got plasticky thread going through the yarn. I'm using my lighter to just make sure that it doesn't fray, and that's my bracelet made. Then it's just a case of fastening it around the wrist, which can be easier said than done when you're trying to hold these eyelet things. But yeah, that's the bracelet, that's what it looks like. And then it's just a case of fastening it in place. I find these little clasps a bit fiddly. So if you've got someone that can help you put it on, even better. And that's it. That's how I made my rose quartz bracelet. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.